There we go. All right, so greetings everyone. Once again, thanks so much for joining us for our first webinar of 2021. We're glad to have you and looking forward to another exciting year of spending some time with you on these webinars. Per usual, we'll have everyone muted, but please use the chat feature for interacting with us. You'll have a couple chances to do so today, so we look forward to hearing your comments. And today we're going to look at 2021 in a little bit different way. We'll be looking back, in a sense, to look forward. So with me today, again, I'm Michael Lawrence, our Doug Twitchell and Alan Plunkett. You should know us all well from previous experiences, kind of the cornerstone of 2020, getting this kicked off. But to start out, we want to thank you so much for a successful 2020 with our webinars, and we're looking forward to bringing you some more content this year, some more exciting things that we're learning, and a little bit of what we want to share with you today. So as we talk about, like I said, kind of looking back to look forward, we'll talk about what's coming for 3A today, a wrap up for retail 2020, and then kind of synthesize both of those into what it means for 2021 in our looking into 2021. So to get started, just kind of what's coming up for 3A. As many of you know, 3A Composites is a worldwide company, and our owners have encouraged and supported growth with it, really with a focus on looking forward. And I think that looking forward is the big piece here, because all of 3A Composites had challenges in 2020. I mean, all of us did around the world and in our industry especially. But again, we at 3A found a way to make our position stronger. So around the world, we've had growth through strategic acquisitions. We've been investing in our production facilities with new equipment and the additional of experienced and seasoned personnel. So you'll see a lot of new faces over the course of the year. You'll see a lot of new announcements over the course of the year. I was hoping to give you a little more detail starting out today, but we're just gonna have to wait as they come along so that we're giving you proper information at the proper times on what you'll be able to see and expect. So set your expectation to spend some time with us so that we can tell you more about it. And for those of you in the United States, you're maybe aware of our acquisition of the Encore product line in late 2020. And of course, with that, we gained some new markets and manufacturing expertise as well. So in 2021, you'll continue to see 3A Composites look at acquisitions that would be a good fit for us, and we'll continue to invest in our infrastructure and equipment and plants and people. We'll be moving into new applications for some of the traditional products that you're used to seeing from us, just seeing them in some different ways. So please, again, stay tuned for those launches as the year progresses. Also, we know COVID is first and foremost in a lot of our minds, and in 2020, we supplied Centra for use in temporary medical facilities and directional signage and sign materials. Anything that anywhere we could find where there was a need for surfaces that needed to be able to be cleaned and disinfected without damaging the material. And we'll continue to do so in 2021 as well. We have some new opportunities to partner and seek even more opportunities to support the effort for getting our population vaccinated. So as you're in the marketplace, and for those of you that are our distributor partners and friends, look for those opportunities, because we do have a proven track record in that state already. But to continue on, we'll continue to use the assets that we have. We'll also continue to work with our European counterparts in Germany and Ireland to bring in products like DISPA and our PETG, which we kind of ran short on early in 2020. But it's all back now. And again, as there were challenges with getting that clear sheet in 2020, it also presented us a unique opportunity to set our eyes on what can we do. We didn't focus on what we couldn't get done. We started looking at what can we do and set ourselves up really good for 2021. So this year is set to be a year where we're positioned to be a strong partner and strong supplier, addressing the diverse material needs that our changing world really does require at this point. So all that being said, one of the key ways we've positioned ourselves for the future is through constant learning and understanding what's happening in our marketplace. So to share some of those insights, we're going to run right on into Alan Plunkett, our retail guy, and give us a wrap up of 2020 and let us know some of those insights that are to come for 21. Alan.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. We're just going to take a quick look back at retail for the year that was last year. I'm from Ohio. We don't call that state up north by its name. because of distaste. We call it the state up north or the school up north. We'll never, so we're kind of doing the same thing with last year. We're not going to refer to it by name. It's the year that was, that awful year. We can call it whatever we want. So if you catch me using it by name, please raise your hand, because I'm trying to erase it from my memory, probably like all of you. We're also going to take a look, I think it's relevant, what kind of economic recovery we are in coming out of this recession. It's the first time it's ever happened in the United States. And then we'll get the crystal ball out and we'll take a little look at some trends of what we see coming in 2021, some big areas. And the purpose behind that is for you to, the people listening is to think about what you have in your bag of products that fits into these market areas that are going to be growth market areas for 2021. So as we talk about it, that's what we do at 3As. We try to think about how we can best be positioned for what's coming as the strong areas for the upcoming year. So if Mike can start to roll some of the slides. So there are traditional types of recoveries from a recession.
Give us 1 second here. Let's see if we can get Alan unfrozen. He has frozen. One moment. All right, I think 2020 had a bone to pick with Alan there, and they cut him off. So we're gonna wait for him to jump. We'll give him a couple seconds here to jump back on. You know, I think 2020 is in cahoots with 2021, so we'll see how this goes. But give us just a moment here to see if we can reclaim him for it. He is back. We're going to get his audio going here, and we'll keep going. There he is.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Can we go back to where we were?
Yeah, man, I told everybody, I think 2021 and 2020 on cahoots. They took me out there for a second.
You're not going to believe it. We had like a quick 2-second power outage at my house. Everything, the whole house went dark for a couple seconds. So my apologies. Everything had to restart back up. I don't know what happened outside. So my apologies to everybody. So we were here. This is a traditional V-shaped economic recovery that occurred in the 1950s. And if we can go next slide, we go into the, this is also considered a typical type of economic recovery. It's considered a U-shaped recovery that was in the 70s. And if we'll go forward to what is a W-shape, this is what happened at the end of Jimmy Carter, early Ronald Reagan, an up and down type recovery, which is also fairly common. But without any argument now, at this point, we realize we're in what's called a K-shaped recovery. If you go forward to slide, it looks like a Roman numeral K. It's the first time it's ever happened in the United States. It's called the Cantillon effect for Irish-French economist Richard Cantillon. Basically, this is what happens when the government prints money to combat a recession, and then what we call now stimulus. It's basically just printing money And when the allocation of those stimulus monies are not actually properly done, you get the K-shaped economic recovery where some parts, we all know some industries and some businesses, friends we have that are having had the year of their life last year, and, restaurant, travel, airlines, rental cars, you name it, just straight down to the bottom. So we are clearly in what's considered a K-shaped recovery. So keep that in mind for your marketing. And that'll come into play when I talk a little bit about 2021, how that K-shaped recovery and what's going to continue when this kind of recovery happens, how to attack it. So if we could go forward one, Mike, we'll take a look back at the holidays from last year, that year that was. Amazingly enough, it was predicted to be slightly down over the previous year. The holidays spending season actually ended up being up 3%, which was a surprise. And we have this slide because if you're going to recap the holidays from last year, it truly was home for the holidays. One, because more people shopped from home than ever had before. And secondly, more people spent money on their homes than ever had before. So it was truly a double-sided, everything about the home for the holidays last year. And one of the key features of why it actually ended up being up a little bit, 3%, it's not significant, but it's certainly better than what was expected, is the alignment of brick and mortar and online. BOPUS, curbside, really came through to save the day for the holidays, and that was a great thing. What's important about that is that gives retailers good footing heading into this year, 2021. It takes a little while for that market spend to come down through from when they had a good time. But there was at one point in April, JLL was talking about retail might be down as much as almost 12% for the entire year. It actually ended up being slightly up for the year. So a good rebound in the second half of the year. And then now we want to take a look at what we saw from last year and see what we're going to have coming for 2021. You look at Dr. Fauci, he says we're going to have enough vaccine distributed throughout the population that we should achieve herd immunity end of March, early April. That I'm thinking that probably June. Everything runs a couple months behind. So really somewhere around middle of the year, realistically, we might get to herd immunity. And that's going to bring us to something interesting for 2021 for retail, restaurants, the entire economy, really. I just happen to work in retail restaurant area. But it's going to be a tale of 2 years, a tale of two retailers in 2021, because, the government for the last year and for the, first 3 or 4 months of this year, the government's deciding what is essential versus non-essential business. Poor restaurant, anybody that owns a restaurant or has made a living in the restaurant industry, they've just been singled out as non-essential and just kind of thrown to the side. So it's been difficult for those kind of places. Other essential businesses, grocery, have had the best year they've ever had. But so what with that K-shape, once we get back, I can't do the K in here. I can do it that way. The K-shape recovery is what you're going to see is as we get to herd immunity, as we get to June, everybody in my circles, everybody's already talking about the first vacation they're going to take when everything opens back up, go see the family, going to be all sorts, everybody's going to be out and gone, ready to go do something. So that K-shape that we've had is going to come together. And then at some point, it's even going to flip the other way. So which is great for restaurants, great for travel, great for hotels. And, the industries like grocery, industries like anything Home Depot, Lowe's, those are going to start to come back down because they're monopoly on the money. So it's going to be a tale of two retail years that are going to, so keep that in mind as to who you're marketing to. And one of the great things, if we go to the next slide, a lot of people are talking about what's coming down is, are we going to go through another roaring 20s? We did, 1920s was the roaring 1920s. Are we going to do it again? I'll give a couple seconds here for a quick question. What was going on in the 1920s that's eerily similar to what's going on now, and where some people are predicting the next several years to be the second roaring 20s? So I'll give 15, 20 seconds to see if anybody can come up and chat with some of the good similarities between the two decades or the 2 centuries.
Yeah, for those watching, please feel free to throw some guesses out there in the chat function. We love to hear your answers.
Very good.
Here's Swan.
By the way, the answer is not that Joe Biden ran for president both times. That is an urban myth. That is absolutely not true. All right. We got some people. Very good. So we're all on. There we go. From Jim.
Good jazz. There we go.
All right. I like that. I hope we have another jazz age. I would love to see that. But yeah, some of the similarities between the two are really striking. As we were coming out of the Spanish flu, the Spanish flu ended in April 1920. We had a new president, Warren Harding, had just been elected into office. The Spanish flu had caused a deep recession, very similar to what we have right now. And in April of 1920, we finally achieved herd immunity after 1/3 of the world's population, believe it or not, 500 million people back then had the Spanish flu. We achieved herd immunity, and similar to what we're seeing right now, there was all this pent-up angst, readiness to get out and about that started to kicked off the Roaring 20s. It was also an era of incredible technological advances, air flight, mass production was all a big part of that. Now today we've got the new technologies, everything coming together too. So there's a lot of people saying that we're looking at a decade that might be one of the biggest growth decades we've ever had. And then some of the things that we could see, that I see coming down the road, is one, Michael and Doug and I have been talking about this for a year. The explosion of BOPUS, buy online, pick up in store, and curbside. It was the story for last year, the year that was. It saved the day for everybody. That will continue. That's not going to stop anywhere soon. Everybody's got expanded, improved BOPUS curbside programs set in place. So if you're thinking about marketing, there's all sorts of outdoor signage, indoor signage. They just want to bombard the marketing out of those areas because that's such a growth area. They're just going to bombard drive-through areas. They're going to get a lot more marketing, a lot more signage. So think about those. Second thing that we're seeing is retailers are finding out that there's an inherently lower profit percentage of online sales versus in-store sales. There's just added accessory costs associated with selling something online that are not present in brick and mortar spaces. So look for some of your traditional online brands, Warby Parker, Casper, Bonobos. Look for those to move into physical retail spaces that especially ones that have been unoccupied due to the COVID pandemic. So a lot of upside there for interior substrates to be sold into big growth area if you can stay on top of those. And then following herd immunity, it looks like we're going to see an era of what we're calling retailtainment. There's a slide here, where inside of, I forget the name of the store, where they've actually got a place where you can go in and try out your surfboard. If you go into the Nike flagship store in Manhattan, Times Square, there's a full-size basketball court where you can get, video of your free throw to make sure your free throw form is perfect. We're just going to see a lot more of shopping kind of therapy, shop therapy, where people get together and shop together. It's going to become more of destinations, almost like touristy attractions, where retail spaces do more. People can gather longer, people can gather in groups, and they're going to want to bring people in and separate themselves from the stale online experience. The one thing Doug mentioned yesterday that was spot on when we were talking through some of it, is when he goes online to shop, he buys one thing and you're done. When you go into the store, when they get you into the store, you end up picking up this. Oh, I need that. The kids get soda, whatever. So we're look for some more retailtainment, trying to get people in. And then the fourth one, and a really big one for this year, is shopping local. If you start calling on your smaller businesses, your smaller restaurants, your smaller boutiques, because the push, not only just from a personal standpoint of wanting to support your local people, one of the changes as a result of COVID that's not going back to the way it was, is people are no longer going to be working in the corporate one headquarter environment. The work from home movement is here to stay. The result of that is people are no longer making that commute downtown every day. People are staying out in the suburbs closer to home. So we're starting to see that more people are spending more of their money within a mile or two of their house than they ever have before. This is much to the demise of an urban location. You know, there are all sorts of urban restaurants, downtown restaurants that survive strictly on lunch crowds, you know, from the local businesses that are down there. Or you'll have the, you know, a little five and dime or whatever store you pick up, you know, hand sanitizer to go home with or dish soap. All of those stores are going to, unfortunately, those are going to have rough time and possibly disappear. And where they're going to disappear to is moving back out to the suburbs, where we're going to see a bigger push to smaller stores. Even the biggies, Macy's, Home Depot, are designing smaller stores, but more stores in local areas, because again, more of the dollars, shoppers' dollars, are going to be spent within 2 miles of home than ever have before. And then I take a couple looks at a couple design things that are coming down the road in the future. One is everything's moving to open spaces. They're trying to get people, we've discovered, you know, it's not good to be inside. A big part of this is the mall structure. We're not going to see the indoor mall. That's going to be a thing of the past that we tell our grandkids about. But, you know, we used to shop inside. We're looking more at like square shaped, oval shaped campuses with, you know, like a flagship here and another flagship here and a bunch of in between stores, you know, your Bath and Body Works here, and, you know, your whatever, you know, the smaller stores, your Five Belows here. And then there'll be like an open atrium area, almost like a quad on a college campus, where people walk back and forth, but it'll all be outdoor space, not people under one location. Again, good for marketing. A little bit more of outdoor type signage than we typically see, you know, what would be in the indoor part of the mall now. Maybe go to a Sintra or something that's more of an outdoor focus. And then finally, last but not least, what BOPUS and curbside were to last year. This year, you're going to start to keep an ear out. The word dark spaces in dark stores is going to be where a lot of the focus is going to go to. It's not nearly as scary as it sounds. Dark stores, dark spaces, just report that people don't go inside. You know, it's estimated that by the end of next year, 2022, half of all restaurants will be dark restaurants, meaning there's no inside seating whatsoever. It's strictly drive-through, curbside pickup, Grubhub, Uber Eats, whatever it might be. Think about that. Half of all restaurants, you won't even go inside. We've seen designs for Burger King, you name it. They've all got designs. And it's also same thing with grocery stores. We're moving to, I won't say the brands, but there's a lot of, several grocery brands are moving to having dark stores throughout a city location, and then sometimes even like a hybrid. Amazon's looking at like a hybrid open store for your produce, your milk, your meat you can pick out, but all your canned goods and other prepackaged goods you order, and then you go around, you pick them up. So it's a half dark store, half open store. Again, it's going to be to 2021 what BOPUS curbside were last year. So think about ways to market. There's going to be all sorts of directional signage, instructional signage, all sorts of container pods. They're going to be needed for dark spaces that will influence substrates really heavily throughout all of 2021, and then probably for the next couple of years. BOPUS curbside and dark stores, that's following the money for the next 24 months. And the great thing about 3A Composites with what we do, we are uniquely positioned as opposed to anybody else in the industry, perfectly positioned to adapt to all of these changes. That's part of what we do. And I'll turn it over to the one and only Doug Twitchell to take us home from here with his expertise. So thank you for your time, and off to Doug.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Alan. And it's not my own expertise. It's what we as a company come up with. So, you know, just a couple of things in review that I want to make sure everybody is real clear about. And hopefully through all of these webinars and things, everybody has seen that 3A Composites is dedicated to the graphics market worldwide. We have graphics manufacturing all over the world. So when it comes to working with printers, when it comes to working with fabrication, end uses for our products, we have a lot of people on staff worldwide that are dedicated specifically to the graphics and the graphic display market. The other thing I think, to reemphasize that we're aggressively growing. We made an acquisition last year in a year that was not a good year for people that didn't make a lot of products that you could see through. But we're a strong, healthy company, and we did make an acquisition last year, and some of those some of the expertise that we learned from that acquisition and that product offering is going to help us in the future. We're investing in personnel too. We've got people in place, whether it's quality control or marketing functions, whatever it is. We've got people in place, salespeople in place, technical people in place that have been with the company a long time, and we're well suited to take care of those. Definitely, as a company, our ownership is dedicated to growth. Also, I want everybody to think about in the next few months, who's going to be the winners. And Alan was talking about the K-shaped recovery, and I think that's really important to know that, you look at some of those industries: travel, entertainment, hospitality, food, restaurants. These people have pent up buying because they haven't had people coming into their locations, and once this thing starts to open up, the people that are going to win are going to be the people that are going to be able to supply those markets. It's certainly a lot of the winners from this last go around. If in April, May, June you had clear sheet in stock, you won. And I think that's the same way things are going to go here in the next couple of months. So as you're looking at what your plans are for the next 4 to 6 months, think about what you need to have to be prepared to supply these guys, because the volume could be substantial. It could really boom. And all of those are going to be great opportunities for foam core, Gator foam, Gator Plast, Devon, Sintra, and also keep in mind the new Dispa material that we are importing from our manufacturing facility in Germany. You want a beautiful print board that you can throw in the recycling bin when it's over. It's a terrific product. So 4x8s, 5x10s. So keep those things in mind as time progresses, where you want to position yourself to win as we start to come out of this recession. And I think we're set up for a very strong finish in 2021. So thanks, everybody.
Yeah, and I just add to what Doug said real quick. That was absolutely awesome. This is a really great time to be a valuable resource to your customers, especially as Doug alluded to, the ones that are in the bottom half of that K recovery right now. They know this is coming and they need help. This is their one chance. They're a little bit desperate. So this is a really great time to be a valued resource to those customers, travel, restaurant, that have been hurting for the last few months. So it's a great point by.
Awesome. Well, just to close out, while we're sharing our last few moments here, if there are any questions, please go ahead and shoot them over via chat. I know we provided a lot of information today, didn't leave a lot of room for questions, but I wanted to make sure that you had one last chance to look at the K-shape recovery that we're in now. If some of those details got past you, here's a second look at it really quickly. And again, this will be recorded. It'll be in our repository, and the details for that will come out within the next week or so as well. So please feel free to refer back to this. We want to be a resource for you all. That's what these webinars are all about. And we're looking forward to and very excited about what's coming in 2021 and the information that we have for you, but also in assisting you in being the best that you can be in this year as well, as our partners and friends in the industry. So thanks again for your time. We look forward to talking to you some more. And if you have any questions or comments or ideas for other webinars as we go along, please feel free to reach out to myself, Michael Lawrence. My email is michael.lawrence@38composites.com. And we look forward to talking to you all again soon. Have a fantastic rest of the week and the last few days of this fast first month of 2021. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ariel.